All right, on to the NFC. We'll start with the NFC East or NFC Least, whichever you prefer to call it. I think last year the latter obviously was true. One of the worst divisions in the history of football last year.
Yeah.
And it honestly, it looks the same this year. It's going to be again kind of a crapshoot, and none of them look like they're going to be. I don't see a double. Well, I take that back. I see double-digit win team, but I think it's only because they have an extra game. So I'll start this one off. Obviously, I have Washington. As you can see, we both have Washington first, Dallas second, Philly third, the Giants last. I have Washington first because I think their defense is elite. That's what carried them for most of the season last year. I think, although Ryan Fitzpatrick is not Patrick Mahomes, I do think that he is a upgrade as far as the quarterback position. As much as I love my man Alex Smith, we all know he was playing on one leg last year and did what he could. And now they're going to have somebody that can, throw the ball a little deeper down the field, likes to throw the ball all over the place, and is going to be on two good legs. So I really think that that's enough to put them over the top in this weak division. The reason I didn't pick Dallas as the number one team is although their defense should be improved because it can't really be worse than what it was last year, I don't think it's going to be improved enough. They did hit a home run with their first round draft pick, Micah Parsons. But other than that, I don't see any major pieces added to this defense that are going to make that much of a difference. I still see them having to throw the ball a lot. And for them, if that's the scenario at the beginning of the season, it could mean that they're going to fall behind very quickly in the standings because, Dak hasn't thrown the ball a lot in the preseason. And if you go into week one, especially like against Tampa Bay or someone like that, and you ask him to start chucking the ball all over the place, who knows? Maybe he hurts that shoulder again. Hopefully he doesn't, but he hasn't had enough reps for you to count on him. And obviously Zeke looks like he's in great shape, but until he's on the field, we don't know, right? We don't know. They call them workout warriors. You see all those guys that go to the combine and look like they're in phenomenal shape, and then when they get on a football field, they look lost. So, of course, their offensive line has some concerns. They have some guys back, but it only takes one injury for that offensive line to be mediocre again, like it was last year for most of the season. So that's why I didn't pick them over Washington. I think Philly, Jalen Hurts he's a nice quarterback. He's a nice player, but I don't think he's enough to put them over the top. I think they're going to have a better season than they did last year, but I don't think that they win this division. They just don't have enough on both sides of the ball. They've got some pieces, but just not enough to compete with Washington when it comes to like defense and things like that. And then the Giants, they've probably got honestly the second most talent in this entire division on their roster, but for some reason their coaching staff just can't put it together and get it to work right and make it click. So the quarterback is a big concern. If you watched any part of the highlights or any part of the game they played this week, he's Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. It's one drive he'll take them down the field and throw a dime, and that's why they call him Danny Dimes. And then the next time he'll take them down the field and throw an interception where he shouldn't have even thrown the ball at all. And it's just like, oh my goodness. So that's why I have them last. It's just because of inconsistency. I don't think that. Although Joe Judge was probably a great coach when he was an assistant and things like that, I don't think that as a head coach he's able to make the impact and get the buy-in from his players that you need in the NFL and really any professional league for your team to be successful. I think there's only fragmented parts to that team. That's
I agree with you on most of that. I like Washington for the same exact reasons. Their defense is going to be phenomenal. They were great last year. They're going to be probably even better this year. Of course, I love Alex Smith just as much as the next guy, but we all know, even on a good leg, that he's not one to drive the ball down the field. He's going to manage the game, make sure he doesn't turn the ball over. He's going to, pick efficient play, and not take very many risks. And that's the element that Fitzpatrick will bring to the Redskins offense. And you nailed it. He's definitely not Patrick Mahomes or even in that realm, but with the receivers he has, if they can stretch the field just a little bit more, get a few more balls, 15, 20 yards down the field with McLaurin, Curtis Samuel, and a few of those other guys, then they're going to be a really good team. They're going to win double-digit games. Dallas, in my opinion, has nothing to do with their talent. It's all about their coach. I think McCarthy gets fired after the year, honestly. I don't see him in Green Bay, or I'm sorry, Dallas any longer. And he's just not a good head coach, in my opinion. I don't think that he makes his team better. I don't think he makes his coaching staff better. Their defense definitely did improve. From a talent standpoint, they got Michael Parsons in the draft. They even got Keanu Neal, who was moved from safety to linebacker, and he's looked really good in the preseason too. They still have Van Der Esch on the roster, and even Jalen Smith, who's been subject of trade rumors. But they do have some talent on their defense. But to me, it's all about their coaching, and it starts at the top with McCarthy, and then it kind of trickles down. I don't think he's a good enough coach to get the most out of this team. And he's just terrible in situational football. We've seen in the past, and all the way back to Green Bay, and even with Dallas, when, they're in certain situations, close games, his play calling and his ability to, lead the team to victory is not there. So that's why I have Dallas in second. Their sheer talent alone gets them to second. If they had a different coach, a better head coach, I think they could win this division because they have a ton of talent on offense. I mean, Zeke, Dak is a great quarterback. You got Amari Cooper, CD, he's going in his sophomore year. He's good. Gallup, he's a good receiver. He's proven that he can, catch balls. Even their backup running backs played pretty well behind Zeke. Last year when he was having fumbling issues. So I like Dallas's offense. I'd like to see how well they play on defense. Philly, to me, is kind of like a wild card. I'm not sure what to think of them at this moment. Jalen Hurts could be great, could not be so great. No one really knows. I mean, he had flashes last year, but, if we're being honest, like he came in kind of midway through the year or whatnot, towards the end of the year, and he was just kind of thrown into the fire. He's got an off season. They were able to have training camp this year. They were able to play preseason games. So I would really like to see Hurts and what he can do with this offense. I mean, they still got some talent on the offensive line. They still have some talented receivers. We'll see what we can get. And when I say receivers, I mean tight ends in Philly, because their tight ends are their best receivers, and Goddard and Ertz. And then with the Giants, it's not much for me to say about them. I was really high on the Kenny Golladay signing, but I think if there's one thing he's proven in this offseason is that he's still injury prone. He just got paid a lot of money, and I'm not sure how much of that money is guaranteed, but hey, I mean, you can get paid, hey, guy, get your money. But if he is healthy, he could add a different element to the offense, but it's all about their coaching as well. Like you mentioned, their coaching, Danny Dimes, he's so Jekyll and Hyde. You don't know what you're going to get on any given day. Their offensive line's not great. Their defense is not great, not even good. They're just average, I guess. So, maybe Jones comes out and plays well because he is in a contract year. But we'll see. We got to see how the season plays out.
Yeah. A couple of things you said there, I definitely want to kind of piggyback off of. I agree. Mike McCarthy, whether Jerry Jones admits it or not, Mike McCarthy is on the hot seat in year two. Because Dak is back and they paid him money. They paid him a lot of money. So the expectations are for them to win, and not just win the division. Their expectations are to win playoff games, and I don't see Mike McCarthy doing that. And I agree with you. He's proven that especially the second half of his career, his time in Green Bay, and then now that he's been in Dallas, that he doesn't make adjustments. He just goes out and he calls the same plays and does. And you saw the videos of his last couple of years there with Green Bay, where Aaron Rodgers was yelling at the sideline, reports of Aaron Rodgers telling the guys in the huddle, we're not running that play, we're running this play. You know, and then that's obviously the reason that he left Green Bay, is because back then they realized who was the most important player on a piece of their team, and it was the quarterback. For some reason, they don't know that now, but that's a different story. You know, but that's what happened, and he's proven that since he's been in Dallas, although they had their injury with Dak, he's proven that he just doesn't make adjustments. You know, no matter who's the quarterback, no matter who's the running back, wide receiver, whatever, he's going to go out there and call his plays. And whether it's the play that puts them in the right position or not, he doesn't care. He's just going to call what he calls in a certain situation. So I agree with you. You know, when it comes to situational play calling, there's a lot to be desired there if you're a Cowboys fan. So I think he's definitely on the hot seat.
Big time.
And then you know, obviously we talked about the Giants and their issues, so, you know, not too much there. I think Philadelphia, like you said, one thing you said about Jalen Hurts is there's not you know, he didn't play a lot last year. He's still like an unknown commodity. He could be great. He could be a bust. I think he's probably going to be somewhere in the middle. He's going to be a good quarterback, not elite, not top tier, but I think he can contribute to a team winning and contribute to, you know, helping a team grow a culture and things like that. Because one thing that I can say about him, if you followed him throughout his career, he's been counted out everywhere he's been, and he's always bounced back and performed at a high level. So I think that he is an unknown commodity, and if he comes out and he is, you know, if he kills it, who knows? Philly might, you know, end up winning this division based off of how he plays. So if you think about it, out of all of these quarterbacks, he is the one that is most multidimensional if he can be accurate with the ball. He has the most dynamic legs of anybody in this division as far as quarterback goes. So
I agree.
And that means a lot in today's NFL, of course. So
I kind of liken it to the Tua situation, you know, in the sense that, you know, COVID halted a lot of things for these young players, and it halted their progress. It halted their ability to learn, you know, because what they were learning is how to, instead of learning the game, they were learning how to, you know, schedule and, you know, go through all these protocols, so on and so forth. So all that, what they were learning, the guidelines, and it was taking away time they could spend in the playbooks, taking away time they could, you know, spend watching videos, so on and so forth. So this full training camp and off season is going to be very valuable for those guys. So I liken Hurts to Tua, the Tua situation, in the sense that they now have a much better grasp of the system. And coincidentally, you know, they both come from Alabama.
You tied them together because Tua is the one that took his job in the championship game. But he went to, like I said, he went to Oklahoma the next year and balled out. You know, so you know, again, I think that like you were saying, he is the wild card, and if he comes out and starts balling, Philly could be a surprise team for sure. So
big time, especially in a division that's not so strong. I mean, I like Washington, but they're not an elite team. They could, you know, they're an injury away or something like that. I don't wish any injuries on any team or any player, but they are really just a injury away from a superstar, you know, from not being, they could be dead last. I mean, if Fitzpatrick or
Chase Young,
who?
Chase Young.
Yeah, Chase Young, any of those guys, Gibson, you know, if anyone gets hurt, those guys are not going to be good. They'll be average or bad.
Yep, exactly. I agree. Yeah, so NFC least still is what I say.